Hello, everyone. Welcome to sportsnetworker.com or sportsbusinessu.com, wherever you're viewing this video. I have a special guest with me today, Beth Grupsmith, the Managing Director of SBEN, Sports Business Education Network. Beth, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Josh. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I am excited because I've been all over the internet. I've been seeing SBEN on Twitter, tweeting and retweeting different things. You've been in the different weekly discussions, and I've seen you on live stream with almost 2,000 followers.
Yep.
So you're the managing director of SBEN, but it's still pretty new. Can you tell me about how it got its start?
Okay, so I'm going to take you back 50 plus years to 1960 when Mark H. McCormick became the first agent in the sports industry, basically founded the sports industry. So when he signed Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and created IMG. So fast forward to 10 years ago, 2003, unfortunately Mark McCormick passed away. And this is after IMG is completely established. He's the founder of the industry, all that and above. So this left the family what to do with IMG. So IMG then becomes sold. Now what do we do with Mark McCormick's archives? So famously, the bid went out to a bunch of different schools. UMass that became the school that's now housing Mark H. McCormick's archives. So as this was happening, I was a student at UMass Amherst, so I went to the induction ceremony, saw Mark H. McCormick's children and his widowed wife there just inducting the ceremony. So now I approached head at UMass for sport management with this idea of live streaming different organizations, conferences, basically speakers who are addressing an audience and sharing their wisdom in the sport industry. So due to certain complications, this was not able to happen at UMass. So this summer, it became a project for the McCormick Foundation. So I just want to be clear for 2 seconds. While the family does have the ties to IMG, even though they sold it, and the family has ties to UMass, SBEN is a McCormick Foundation project, solely funded and created by McCormick Foundation. So it is separate from those two other entities. And then this is where I came in and we were able to officially start and launch SBEN in September.
Well, that's exciting. I appreciate you clearing that up because there's a lot of different organizations involved, and so it's nice knowing who the players are.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit more about SBEN, what their goals are, and who they are?
Yeah, absolutely. So SBEN is a nonprofit organization. We basically, as I had just mentioned, we live stream. So we work with Livestream. And actually, let me talk a little bit about that. It's this livestream.com, great organization. And their CEO, Max Hayat, actually worked with Mark H. McCormick. So he's doing a favor to us, and we're partners in this sort of thing. So we use their platform to get our content out there. And I didn't know about Livestream before I started, so it was a great way to learn something new in the industry and really move forward, and I love the tool. It's great. So I reached out to different organizations, student speaker series, anything that's in the industry, to see if they're bringing in a panel, a conference, an executive, just to share their wisdom, talk to students, talk to an audience, and let them know what's going on. So what I try and do, a lot of students don't know about these organizations. I mean, a year ago when I was a student, I had no idea about half of these things, and now I feel like there's nothing I don't know. That's a lie. But I know a lot more than I did even 6 months ago. So it's a great tool. We're also helping to market these organizations. You know, we want to help spread their word. We're not looking to cover anything. We're just trying to be that extra facilitator. So yeah, that's where we are right now.
Well, I know that one of the first events that you live streamed was Ivy Sports Symposium, which was a great event, and that's actually where I first met you. And I know that if I hadn't gotten the opportunity to go to that conference, being able to see it live streamed, and I had some friends who did watch the video through live stream and SBEN. It's a great opportunity to be able to attend the conferences that you either can't fly out to or can't afford.
Right, and a lot of people that I work with or reach out to, their main concern is, well, what about our registration? What about our attendance? I will promote your registration through SBEN. We will promote it so that you have that attendance number. What we're trying to do is double that attendance number through the live views. What you don't get by watching it live stream is the networking, and I highly recommend networking. Nothing replaces that. So this is a great way just to learn if you can't make it, especially if you're a student and can't afford it, because a lot of these conferences are really expensive and some schools can't afford to fund it. So it's out-of-pocket expenses. And when you have loans, you can't really afford to go.
Yeah, I can
So,
certainly understand that.
mm-hmm.
So my next question is related to partnerships because to work with all of these different conferences, you really need to create good relationships with them and create partnerships with them. So talk about some of the different partnerships that you have right now with different organizations and how these partnerships are a part, excuse me, of SBEN's vision.
Okay. Well, with SBN, we're not really trying to promote SBN itself. We're trying to promote the organizations. We want to get the organizations out there, which is a main selling point to working with us. So my first real relationship was with the Sport Marketing Association. I went down to their conference in Orlando in October. It was kind of my beta test period, really learning more about live stream, learning more about the industry, and a bunch of different people I spoke to beforehand kept saying, go down to Sport Marketing Association. I said, all right, I'll go. So I met a bunch of different faculty members. So it was a great reach in the sense that I could go reach them, they can reach their students, and then I can learn about other conferences. So besides that, I made a great relationship with Wise Boston. We stream their events. I've also made relationships with UMass, Indiana, Michigan. We got the Michigan conference. It was their first ever. We had their stream up there. UMass had a panel series at their career fair. Their stream was up there. Southern New Hampshire University, they have speaker series. They have another stream coming up in a few weeks. They had one, it was our last stream of 2012. Joshua Milne came in to speak. And by the way, if you haven't gotten a chance to watch that and you're a student, go watch. Great career advice. And so just these partnerships are basically SBEN. It's what we're about. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't be anything. So I try and create any partnership I can, and I'm trying to get that organization's name out there and hopefully get you members and hopefully build your conference attendance, build your attendance on online viewership. So it's basically, again, without these partnerships, we wouldn't be anything. So
Yeah.
it's who we are.
Well, it's exciting because it seems like it really is a win for everyone because the students, if they can't attend the conference, then they can watch it online. For the people running the event, they're just getting more people who wouldn't have been able to come anyway, and you guys are able to advertise both of them and be able to grow your business as well. And so it's really everyone's helping each other, and it's a good mix so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping you could talk about, you mentioned some of the conferences that you've already done. Talk about what SBEN has already done, and then where you hope to be in 12 to 18 months, because I believe SBEN, I mean, you mentioned October, so that's 3 months ago, so it's less than 6 months, definitely. Where do you hope to be in a year and a half?
Our main goal, which I'm really actually hoping will be done in a year and a half, is we become the SBJ of content. How SBJ does the news, the information, we want to provide you the content. And the way we're working, I don't see why we can't get there. We already have 2,000 followers on live stream, and that basically happened within just a month. So that's pretty incredible. And now with all these new initiatives we're promoting, which hopefully we'll get to in a minute, we'll hopefully, not hopefully, but we will be there. In the 12 to 18 months, we will be that content provider, just like SBJ. So some organizations we're working with, actually, we're trying to get in the works with Sport Management Worldwide, see if we can get up to Indianapolis next month for the Combine. They have a symposium going there. Wise DC, they just had a sports philanthropy panel. We're trying to get that content up on our site. Illinois State University has a symposium coming up. Tulane got a baseball arbitration competition with their symposium coming up. Sync Conference has a Shark Tank and great networking conference that we'll have the chance of fortunately being there, and we're going to help them promote for next year's conference as well. What else? Fordham has a sports law symposium in April. There's SEMI 2013 coming up. There's Wise Syracuse has something coming up. There's always something coming up. So hopefully, if there's something, we have a whole list of events. I can't think of everything off the top of my head, but if there's something coming up, we're looking to be there. But our schedule is full at least every other weekend for the next 3 months.
Well, you mentioned how many different conferences are coming up. What's the best way to find out about which live stream events are coming up and stay updated on which conferences we can
Yeah,
view
well,
the internet?
we have a big social media presence. We like to tweet about everything coming up. We like to retweet definitely all the conferences. We're trying to follow them on Twitter so we get the latest information. A lot of other things we do is we follow different sports blogs. So we follow Sports Network, or we follow Sports Business Exchange, just anything going on. If there's usually a conference section on every blog.
Yeah.
So something that we're trying to do, we're in the middle of creating our own little website that will have a calendar list of or events that we're streaming, as well as events in the organization that we may or may not be able to stream, like the MIT Sports Loan Analytics Conference that's coming up beginning of March. We may not be able to stream that because of their relationship with ESPN. Also, the SBJ IMG conference is coming up in April. We're trying to hopefully work with them, see what goes on through there.
Well, that's exciting. I mean, there's a lot of, it's mind-blowing how many different conferences there are and how many are coming up. I didn't realize until I was looking at your calendar how many different conferences there really are. They really seem to be happening almost weekly. So it's exciting because there really is a lot of content for you guys to be streaming.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Well, one question I'm sure a lot of our listeners are probably wondering, how do you and your team get around to all of these different conferences? Because, I mean, we just mentioned they're happening weekly all over the U.S. and Canada. And how are you doing that, or is that the way that it works?
Well, how it's supposed to work is we're supposed to basically be the facilitator. If I can get to the conference or my team can get to the conference, then we'll be able to go. However, because we're nonprofit and we don't really have that much money, we're completely funded by the McCormick Foundation. And we don't have any, the huge thing I should mention is we're entirely cost-free. So we don't ask our organizations to give us money for our services. Live stream is entirely free. We don't, nobody has to pay for anything. So that's the beauty about Sports Business Education Network. So it costs a lot of money to go to these conferences to have the equipment. So if it's in the area, specifically for me, the Northeast, I'm able to get to that conference readily accessible, but I may not have the equipment. So we asked that the conference provide the equipment for us. We do recommend HDMI cameras just because of best quality, but if they don't have it, this is their stream. It's how the organization's promoted, and we're just trying to get it out there, and we will do the best whatever we have. So basically it's, we like the organization to provide the equipment, do the production if they can. That's the majority of what they're supposed to be. But luckily with all these different conferences, myself and my team, someone is in the area. So it's great. So the way it works out right now is we can all go, but other times we can't. Like Illinois State University, that symposium's coming up. It's the same day as Sync. I will actually be down in DC for Sync, so will one of my colleagues. But for Illinois State University or State Symposium, I've reached out to them. We've already been talking about, they have the equipment, they have a production team. Students would love to get involved with this. So it's great. It's a learning experience for these students. How do you use live stream? This is how it works. So we're still in the middle of seeing what live stream products do we want. There's a whole lot when it comes to the production side. You have an HDMI camera. You need the live stream producer application to get the feed onto live stream, which is our platform. So you need a transmitter for the HDMI camera to the laptop. So then Livestream just announced a new product, Verizon LTE broadcaster. So you get the 4G LTE. So it's great. Do we want to purchase that product? We don't know yet. So I know a little off track from your question, but it all goes back to the same thing. As much as we can get there, we'd love to get there. However, it's not necessarily the case that we'll always be there. So we looked, if we have the production equipment and you don't, we can send it out to you. But we wish that you have the production equipment and you do it. We'll just help facilitate. I'll be on call if you have any questions. We'll send you user guides, toolkits, everything to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Yeah. Well, that's encouraging because, I mean, it's a reasonable request considering all of the promotion that you're doing for them using your social media presence and your blog and your connections to try and publicize their conference. It's nice that you don't have to be everywhere in the world at once, and they can just kind of facilitate it. So that's encouraging for the people running these events.
Yeah.
What other projects or events do you have coming up in the near future?
Well, so not to be redundant, I listed those events already, but we do have some new exciting initiatives. We're creating an ambassador program because, like you had mentioned, can't be everywhere in the world the same place. So the best way to reach out to universities and colleges and make sure everybody gets involved is through an ambassador program. So we're starting with 17 different universities, and myself and my team are in the middle of reaching out to different connections we have at those universities. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask our ambassador to be our main connection between SBEN and the university. What this will entail is letting the campus and the sport management program know about SBEN, maybe create some viewing parties so everyone can watch the streams at certain time, which, by the way, all streams are archived and still on the site. That's a huge thing. It's not just the live aspect of it. And then we want to know what content is going on campus. So if someone's got a speaker coming in, you got a panel, hey, let's get it up on the network so everyone else can see what you guys are doing, sort of thing. And it's not just a one-way street. We want your ideas. We want to know what's going on. You're our target audience. So let's hear from you. What do you want to see on this? What do you think would work? What conferences do you think we should have our hand at? What do you think is not the type of content students are looking to see? So that's something we're going to work, see what goes on. We're going to take pride in that. I'm really excited for it. I want to get these new ideas so I'm not running out. Then also, something I'm also very excited for, in the first week of February, we're looking to launch a new program, our own channel, basically, since everything else we have to reach out to organizations for our speakers. It's going to be called Live at Your Desk. So we're going to hope, the way it's going to work is one night a week, so as not to conflict with other Twitter chats, Hangouts, any of that. We're going to have an executive come on, basically, through the live stream platform, Skyping in a sense, even though it's not through Skype. Make it interactive. Kind of, they share their wisdom, how they got into the industry, their story, their background, what they do now, and we're going to use the hashtag AskLAYD, or Ask Live at Your Desk, on Twitter, so anyone can come and ask a question. So then you can get a shout out from that person. So say SBEN asked, so the person would read at SBEN_live asked, how did you break into the industry, or what can I do, sort of thing. So we're going to promote that, and then we're going to make them themed. So hopefully we'll work with each job chat. So I know I have a great relationship with the founders of Sport Job Chat. They were actually my classmates. So I'll talk to them. Maybe they'll come on and talk about how they got into the business, what they learned, how they created Sport Job Chat. And that would follow a Sport Job Chat on a Monday night. Then also I have, in April, I know Wise Boston has their anniversary event. So whoever their keynote speaker is, I'm going to ask them to come on and speak about anything from them that they want to touch upon. So there will be different themes, and it'll also be based around the different organizations we work with.
The exciting thing for me listening to this new initiative is that there's a lot of different Twitter chats with executives, but you never get to actually see the person. You just get to see the little response for them, and so that would be really cool to be able to see them actually at their desk through like video chat. And so then they say, oh well, Joshua Lagan asked, how did you get into sports business? It'll just add a whole new dynamic to the discussion and just be a lot more involved. So I'm definitely excited to see that coming up. When would the first one come out? Do you have a date for that yet?
We don't have a date yet. I've reached out to a potential speaker. Don't want to give it away yet. So we'll see what happens. We'll go from there, and then we'll really decide. I want to speak with my team a little more about what they think, get their input. And also, I'd actually like everyone else's input, anyone who's watching. If there's something that you guys want to see done, anybody that you want to see or hear from, let us know at SBEN Live. At SBEN_live on Twitter. Definitely give us a shout out. And I want to make this something that's not redundant and the same as any other thing out there. So if there's a way that we can segregate ourselves, let us know. We're open to suggestions. We want to hear from you. This is for you. So give us a shout out.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely be checking out the Twitter and stuff to see the speaker when it is revealed and figure out who we want to hear from. Because like you keep saying, this is for us. So let's the opportunity to build it together. It only helps us. So it's an exciting opportunity. So we've focused on SBEN. I think we have a pretty good idea of the organization and what you're trying to do with it. But briefly, how did you get your start in sports business, Beth? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then what advice would you give to young sports business professionals?
So I got my start, actually. I just graduated from UMass Amherst in May, and I was a sport management major. So I would say first thing I learned 4.5 years ago, my intro to sport management class, and my classmates were watching, they'll laugh. It was drilled in our heads to network, network, network. We were all scared almost. Go out and get the book Good to Great, and then go network. So first thing I did is I just wanted to get involved. I wanted to get those internships. I wanted to get my hand in the business, especially because I'm a hands-on learner. So I interned at a few different organizations. My senior year, I worked with the NASCAR Kinetics program. And the biggest thing for me, which actually landed me this position with SBEN, was working with the Supercuts Soccer Fest 2012 at UMass. It's the experiential learning class. It was the best learning experience I could have ever had. And it was the reason why I actually went into sport management, why I went to UMass. So it was phenomenal. It was our 10th year. I made some great friends out of it. And I really learned a lot from there. So my main start was just at school. I learned and I pushed for it. And now the best advice I can have is network and utilize social media to the fullest. I will be the first person to tell you how much I despise Twitter. Everything changed in August. My friends were laughing at me saying, how did I never use this? It's the most amazing marketing tool ever. And it's how I've met a ton of different people. So it's great.
So network and Twitter,
Yep.
two valuable things, and they tell us that a lot in school. So Beth, thank you so much for your time today. It's really exciting to hear about all the different things that SBEN is doing and the direction they're heading. It seems like it's going to be a great opportunity for college young sports business professionals to learn a lot and to get involved with the ambassador program and maybe helping uh, live stream some of the events by helping set up the cameras or whatever they need.
Right.
I appreciate again you being on, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for SBEN.
Thanks for having me, Josh. And it's great. I'm glad everybody can learn about SBN as we're just trying to share Mark Reach McCormick's dream of bringing the industry to the classroom. And if anybody out there wants their panel or conference or their anything streamed on SBN, just give us a shout out.
Yeah, so last reminder, everyone go check out SBEN on Twitter and feel free to give them your ideas about different speakers or different events coming up. It's this is for us, so let's make it as good as we can. Thanks everyone for watching.